Hey everybody, Nick Espinosa, your chief security fanatic here, and today we are actually talking about the US government and the Chinese government because the US government just revoked China Telecom's authorization to work and operate here in the United States. This is big news, actually. You probably didn't hear about it, and this is what's going on. Now, this is coming from Tech Radar. China Telecom must withdraw its communication services within the United States within 60 days after the U.S. Federal Communications Commission, or FCC, revoked its authorization or license to operate within our borders. They have about 42 days or so as of the publication of this article. So not quite 60 days anymore, but they were given 60 days to cease and desist. Now, an quote, order of revocation and termination was issued to China Telecom Americas after the FCC ruled that the division was a subsidiary of the Chinese government and that this was unacceptable on national security grounds. And I quote, today's order finds that China Telecom Americas, a U.S. subsidiary of the Chinese state-owned enterprise, is subject to exploitation, influence, and control by the Chinese government and is highly likely to be forced to comply with Chinese government requests without sufficient legal procedures subject to independent judicial oversight. That is according to the official ruling. Now, China Telecom Americas has operated communication services for government agencies, Chinese businesses, and Chinese Americans and tourists for over 20 years. However, the FCC said the national security environment with regards to China has changed since the authorization was first granted, and that the firm now has an unacceptable risk, or now is an unacceptable risk, to the U.S.'s communications infrastructure. And I quote again, China Telecom America's ownership and control by the Chinese government raise significant national security and law enforcement risks by providing opportunities for China Telecom Americas, its parent entities, and the Chinese government to access, store, disrupt, and or misroute U.S. communications, which in turn allow them to engage in espionage and other harmful activities against the United States. Now, China Telecom denies any of these allegations, adding that it would basically explore its options under the U.S. law, and its fate is basically the latest in a series of sanctions taken by the U.S. government against Chinese telecom companies. If you recall, under the Trump administration, both Huawei and ZTE were effectively and essentially banned for sale to things like military bases, meaning if you're in the military, you couldn't have a Huawei or ZTE phone for similar reasons. There also happened to be an issue that ended up being a China Telecom issue that rerouted a lot of traffic here in the United States to China using basically, and I'm not going to get nerdy on you here for those that are not nerdy, basically a protocol known as BGP. There was an incident of that. I should probably go up and I should have probably looked that up before I started talking here, but I remember China Telecom being involved in a BGP routing what was considered an error or mistake, at least that's what they publicly said, that started misrouting traffic, which happens on occasion. We've seen that in the world, not that frequently. Facebook said they had a BGP issue when Facebook went down hard for hours and hours and hours. They couldn't get into anything. That was a BGP issue as well. So obviously BGP, when misconfigured or corrupted or anything else, can be a very serious issue. But this, I think, really underscores the issue that we have, regardless of president. We're now under the Biden administration, that we essentially have an adversarial relationship with China. I mean, a lot of people think that we are in a Cold War with them, and obviously they've been ramping up their military presence, especially in and around Taiwan, and we are basically responding in kind. And so I think we are not going to see the end of this anytime soon. And now I think the Chinese government will respond probably by banning something that is U.S. based in their country, maybe Apple, maybe Google, maybe something else. We'll see where that goes. But obviously, that's a huge thing. This Cold War continues to escalate, and so now China Telecom, and it seems like there's good reason for the U.S. government to be concerned about this, obviously, because we've had a lot of internet intrusions or cyber attacks, obviously via internet infrastructure into our government agencies. Look at SolarWinds, for example. So this is obviously a huge problem. So that is your news of the day. I thought it was interesting, and I hope you do too. And if you've got thoughts on essentially this move by the U.S. government against the Chinese government, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please stay private. Thanks, everyone.